Hello my friend, welcome back to another video. So I'm just showing you a few things I'm going to be using in part 2 for this wreath, and don't worry, I'll explain. I know it went by kind of fast. I did this time lapse because it's a lot of repetitive, boring stuff. Anyway, first thing you need to do is make some circles for your ornaments. So I'm just using a cup and a Posca marker. I used a quarter to do a little circle down at the bottom of the wreath, and that's going to be the center of my bow. So it's pretty simple. Make some circles, and then you're going to end up whiting them out so that when you pour your resin over it, in case that resin is not totally opaque, you won't see that green through the resin. So here I'm just using a popsicle stick to make sure my lines are even for my bow. And then you're going to start seeing me next painting it in. Before I forget, I just want to thank those that have been using my Amazon link to do their Amazon shopping. It's a free way to help, and it is helping tremendously, so thank you. So I made a few mistakes on this, and I'm going to revisit it again and do another one because I'll be honest, the ornaments I put on, I don't like the placement of them in the end. But, yeah, I'm going to revisit it. It was a really fun project to do. I ended up using this high build resin that you will see in a minute. And it's cool for the 3D effect. But the problem is that the working time is very short. And shortly here, you're going to see me using that. And I start having a bit of a hard time with it. So I wish, looking back now, that I had used regular resin, not a short working resin, but you live and you learn. So here comes the paint. You know, just any type of acrylic paint will work. And very important, when you're going to be using resin on anything that you are handling, wear gloves, because your fingers, your skin has oil, and it will deposit oil onto the canvas, and your resin will cause some pitting issues with the resin. So always wear gloves when you're going to be having your hands on anything that you're resining. So now some red Grombacher paint for the bow. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be putting resin over this. It's kind of just, it serves two purposes. To make sure that you don't see that green in the end through your resin. And it also helps give you a guide of where you need to pour your resin. One thing I would have done differently is that ornament right next to the bow. I would have moved it out a little bit further because it's just a little too close for my liking. But again, you learn off of your mistakes. That's the only way you learn. So now this is high build resin. They sell it out of the UK, and you can see how really thick it is. Wherever you put it, it stays. It does not move. And that's why I wanted to use it for this, because I needed those perfect shaped ornaments in that bow. So that's why I had used it. But again, I probably would have just used some regular resin next time and waited for it to thicken up a little bit so it didn't move as much, and then started pouring it. You'll see here, though, how nice you can outline with this. This stuff is awesome for geodes. I cannot say that enough. It makes the most crisp lines you have ever seen. And that is something very important when you're doing something like this. But again, you have to wait for, if you want to use regular resin, you have to wait for it to thicken up a bit, and then you take the chance of it overheating. So that's really why I wanted to use this one. And, you know, I guess I could say it did what it was supposed to do. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do. But look how nice and clean that bow is. You know, it's a great product. high build resin sold through Eli Chem. And Aram, if you're watching, find somebody to sell this stuff in the United States, because I think you could get quite a few sales. Right now it's sold out of the UK, so you have to pay shipping from the UK. And you know, resin is not cheap to ship. It's very heavy. So now my first idea was to put polka dots on my ornaments. But then I just didn't like it. So in a second here, you're going to see I start swirling them. And that's really where I start losing confidence in this project. I don't know. I just wasn't liking the swirled effect that I did. And I'm sure you know that once you're doing a painting and you start not liking something about it, your confidence goes right in the gutter. And, you know, you start doubting yourself on every move. Yeah, it was a struggle for sure. That's one thing I will say. Like I said, don't get me wrong, the wreath is very pretty. It's just, you know, the placement of the ornaments, again, they're just too close to that bow. And I wish I had thought about it a little bit more. Now, here I'm just adding a little bit of gold to see if I can get some kind of special effects, because a lot of times when I use that liquid gold in resin, it will do some funky things for me. But because this resin is so thick, it really just added gold, and that was it. So I let it dry and came back the next day, and you know, this is the same night you're seeing right when I'm done. It's not too bad. I wouldn't throw it away, put it that way. But anyway, we come back the next day here in a second, and I show you how everything cured. I will eventually put a top coat of resin over this whole entire painting. And if you are interested in it, it is available. It's a 16 by 20. It's big. You can just email me, artbytammy@yahoo.com. So if you're interested in resin and learning how to use resin, I have a lot of older videos, and I just started a brand new resin channel called Tammy Anderson Resin Art. I changed the name from the official resin channel to Tammy Anderson Resin Art, so it would be easier to find. So I'm starting up videos on that channel if you're interested in learning the art of resin. And as always, you can check some of the older ones here also. I want to thank you all for watching. I really enjoy teaching, and I hope that these videos are helpful to you. I have some really amazing videos coming out very, very soon, and I hope you stick with me. Until next time, my friends, happy pouring!